cutting. You're just chopping the pieces to length. This cuts on the pull stroke. It's a little like razor saw. I'm sure you've come across them. Very, very good value, good quality things. And it's the sort of thing that you can cut sort of fine dovetails with straight off the saw, basically. Right, so I'll place that there. You can see the positioning of that there.
Just overhanging.
A little bit over length, and I'm going to do just about the same there. You're all right-handed?
Yeah.
Okay. This system works. I mean, I'm right-handed, and I've got all this set up for a right-handed person. What you need to remember when you're doing this system is that what you cut on there will be a right-hand end. What you trim on there will be a right-hand end.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what you find is if you mark a left-hand end, you then put the piece around, whether you turn that round or whatever, the mark that you've made will be underneath. That's a pain. Okay, so that's a right-hand end. I've marked a right-hand end, cut to there. That is piece number 1. Now, that could be piece number 3. So that's long enough for that.
Why'd you have to number them?
You'll see.
Oh.
You'll see. It will make sense. Okay, I'm going to make that piece number 2. Right, I've already got a mitre at that end. Call that 2. Not that there, not that. A little bit over length.
So we do about 2 mil over
Something
length,
like
roughly.
that. Yeah, that sort of thing. So that's piece 2. Actually, I'm going to do that piece around the other way because that's. You can see that the figure varies a little bit. So I got the grain is sort of becoming slightly less interesting there. So I'm going to put that to there like that, which means I'm actually going to do that one upside down first. And this is a casing, but I wouldn't normally work this way round, but actually if I do that, that's the way to do it. Then reverse the piece, there we go. There. There, but that piece is going to go there. Okay, so you get a sort of continuity of grain around there. And then we've got the 4th piece there. I need to mark that. There. And piece number 4. There. Okay, so we now have the pieces roughly cut out to size. The first piece we cut in place, the first piece we fit in place is number 1.
Okay.
Okay, but in order to get the corners working properly, we need to put a reference piece in place there and a reference piece in place there.
So you're just going to do sort of a dry run, just to see if it all fits in?
Sort of, but you will see how it will all fit together in a minute. To start with, we disregard pieces 2 and 3, so we take those out of the equation. And what we're going to do is concentrate on that corner. Now, first thing we need to do is to make sure that the end of that piece, we only really need the end inch or 2, actually fits in that slot and can slide. Now in this case, that will go, okay, and you can see that's fitting in that slot and it's able to slide. It must be able to slide, that's important. So that's okay. Actually, there's a little bit of grot I want to get rid of.
Sorry.
That's alright. It just needs to be flush down there. There we go. Right. Okay, so that goes in there. Piece number 4. Now that won't quite go. Okay, so that's a little bit tight in there. So what you do is you go to one of these sanding boards and you want to taper it very, very slightly. Okay, so I'm putting it absolutely flat, tipping it a few degrees that way, and again a few degrees that way, and you're removing a very small amount of material.
Let's run out to slide.
That now fits in and it slides. Okay, Right, now we need to get that corner so that everything works absolutely spot on. Now, we haven't got a proper joint there, because it's only sawn, and that's quite a rough joint. So what I do is take it to the disc sander, which is there, and then do a really proper, nice, really clean,
Fine shaving.
crisp, fine surface on that. So they both get taken over here.
Sorry.
Right, don't worry. Okay, so you only have to just remove a very small amount on there. I need a little scrap or something. Okay, when you do that, the sanding on there, you bring up a burr. Okay, that must be removed. Can you grab me a head magnified thing? Thanks. Okay, so all that sort of fur and fuzz must be taken off there, because otherwise they will just not close up properly. It just must be really, really clean and crisp, that edge. Okay.
Pretty good.
Now, let's have a look. Now, the really important part of this process is, I mean, I make this hard for myself because I put these very fine black and white lines along the edge. Okay, and it's important that they line up properly. Now, that is actually slightly less than perfect because what I've got here, because I had a bit of a late start. Oh, that's okay, that's good, that's fine. Now, I had a bit of a late start this morning, as you know, and one of the things I was going to do was to cut some more of these lines, but that looks pretty good. Okay, now you can see that the slightest difference in that is going to make a difference in the way the lines line up at the corner. Once you've got them lined up, and this is why it's important that they are actually able to slide, to do that fine adjustment, that piece is taped in place.
Yep.
That is then the reference for that corner. You can forget about that corner. That's
Yep.
done. Okay. Now you bring piece number 2 into play, and you do exactly the same thing in this corner. Now again, that's actually going in there, but it's a tiny bit tight, so just the tiniest bit of removal off there. There we go, now that's now moving in there. You can take that out of there, and now do the same on there. Again, that just needs a little bit of work on there. There we go, that's now going in. So those then get taken to the disc sander. That's the same process again. Fuzz removal process again, which you must do every time you go to the disc. There and okay, now that is, it's lining up fine, but there's actually a very, very slight gap on the inside of that mitre. I mean, it's tiny. It's tiny. But what I want to do, I'm not entirely convinced that that is set up absolutely how it should be. So I'm just going to do a very slight adjustment there. It won't affect what happens to that corner because that corner's working fine. I just want to change that very, very slightly I want to take a tiny bit more off the point. So I'm just going to do that. Now that shouldn't need to be adjusted again. I think that will now be fine for everybody. You usually don't have to do that adjustment again, but whatever you do, you just need to do that. That will clean off. Where's the other bit? There. Thank you. I've done the wrong end of that. Right. There we go. Now that's working very well there. That needs to be backed off a tiny bit. Okay, again. So once those are lining up well, just a piece of masking tape will do a good job of just referencing that, holding it in place. Okay, that corner's working. That corner's working. Now the job is just to trim that to length. That's all you need to do, and you know that that is set up
Set at 45.
absolutely spot on for what you want for there. Now, what I'm going to do is make sure that's registered properly there, which it is. I'm going to make a mark on there. Right, that's not going to work. Just get rid of that. And I mark. Oh, that's why. Oh, I see.